Nietzsche, regret, and amor fati. One of the strangest yet most intriguing aspects of Friedrich Nietzsche's ideas is his repeated enthusiasm for a concept that he called amor fati. The person of amor fati doesn't seek to erase anything of their past, but rather they accept what has occurred, the good and the bad, the mistaken and the wise, with strength and all-embracing gratitude that borders on a kind of enthusiastic affection. The refusal to regret and retouch the past is heralded as virtue at many points in Nietzsche's work. In his book The Gay Science, written during a period of great personal hardship for the philosopher, Nietzsche writes, "I want to learn more and more to see as beautiful what is necessary in things, and I shall be one of those who makes things beautiful. Amor fati, let that be my love henceforth. I do not want to wage war against what is ugly. I do not want to accuse. I do not even want to accuse those who accuse. Looking away shall be my only negation. And all in all, on the whole, some day I wish to be only a yes-sayer." And a few years later, in At Home, when Nietzsche writes, "My formula for greatness in a human being is amor fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity, not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it, but love it." In most areas of life, most of the time, we do the very opposite. We kick violently against negative events and do not accept their role in our lives. We do not love and embrace the flow of events. We spend a huge amount of time talking stock of our errors, regretting and lamenting the unfortunate twist of fate, and wishing that things could have gone differently. We are typically mighty opponents of anything that smacks of resignation or fatalism. We want to alter and improve things, ourselves, politics, the economy, the course of history, and part of this means refusing to be passive about the errors, injustices, and ugliness of our own and the collective past. Nietzsche himself, in some moods, knows this defiance full well. There is much emphasis in his work on action, initiative, and self-assertion. His concept of will to power embodies just his attitude of vitality and conquest over obstacles. However, it is one of the most beautiful aspects of Nietzsche's thinking that he is aware that in order to lead a good life, we need to keep in mind plenty of opposing ideas and marshal them as and when they become relevant. We don't, in Nietzsche's eyes, need to be consistent. We need to have the ideas to hand that can solve our wounds. Nietzsche isn't therefore asking us to choose between glorious fatalism on the one hand or vigorous willing on the other. He is allowing us to have recourse to the either intellectual move depending on the occasion. He wishes our mental toolkit to have more than one set of ideas, to have, as it were, both a hammer and a saw. Certain occasions particularly need the wisdom of a will-driven philosophy. Others demand that we know how to accept, embrace, and stop fighting the inevitable. In Nietzsche's own life, there was much that he had tried to change and overcome. He had fled his restrictive family in Germany and escaped to the Swiss Alps. He had tried to get away from the narrowness of academia and become a freelance writer. He had tried to find a wife who could be both a lover and an intellectual soulmate. But a lot in this project of self-creation and self-overcoming had gone terribly wrong. He couldn't get his parents, especially his mother and sister, out of his head. What were in his eyes their maddening attitudes and prejudices seemed to have spread across the whole of bourgeois Europe. His books sold dismally, and he was forced more or less to beg from friends and family in order to keep going. Meanwhile, his halting and gauche attempts to seduce women were met by ridicule and rejection. There must have been so many lamentations and regrets running through his mind in his walks across the Upper Engadine and his nights in his modest wooden chalet in Sils Maria. If only I had stuck with an academic career. If only I'd been more confident around certain women. If only I'd written in a more popular style. If only I'd been born in France. We will continue the conversation in the next video. In the next video, we'll talk about how Nietzsche looked at his life and created the idea of the amor fati as the new spirit of acceptance, a surrender to God, as he says. Foolish surrender. Thank you.